to protect home.
Your officials tonight, Jerry Pollard, Tony Padilla, and Keith Kimball. This, the 142nd meeting in a rivalry that started all the way back in 1932. And away we go in their home purples. The Frogs control the opening tip. Here's Emmanuel Miller. He's the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week. 10 on the shot clock for the Frogs. Micah Peavy, 0 in purple with 5 to shoot. Miller, tough 2 off the window.
Good opening possession. You know, a team that really scores big time in transition. Good to get that first possession. A number of passes, take it down, take that shot clock down.
Both teams very consistent with their starting lineup. Same starters for Texas Tech their last 12 games. Here's Warren Washington. Can't get the jump hook to go. PV on the wing. Here's Tennyson, best three-point shooter for the Frogs, and he shows it right there.
Inexcusable defensively from Joe Toussaint. I mean, you cannot. He is the hottest shooter in the league. 23 made threes in 7 conference games. You're too far off.
Toussaint gives it to Washington. 2 feet in the paint. That one goes for the big man.
And part of it for TCU, Rich, is Texas Tech is going to allow them to make passes. I mean, they're getting 2-3 ball reversals on these possessions in the half court. You've got to stay engaged defensively.
Miller tries from 3. He's 44% in Big 12 play in that department, but misses his first. Here's Pop Isaacs, leading scorer in Big 12 play right now, 19.5 a game. Walton off the mark on his first 3. And Avery Anderson clears. Stops and pops. Micah Peavy off the mark. And so is Ernest Uday. Isaacs. Transition bucket off the window.
And that's where Joe Toussaint and Pop Isaacs can be really, really good. Those two push in transition. They'll sometimes take some bad shots because they'll go 1-on-2, 1-on-3.
Clock stopped here with 17:41 to go. Let's take another look at Pop.
Pop Isaacs went 1-on-2 at the end of that Oklahoma game. It was a big, big bucket in transition. And there again, he'll push in traffic. Thinks he got fouled. Those two are always on the attack. Toussaint and Isaacs, they are always leaning in.
Pop Isaacs made his Big 12 debut last year in this building, had 5 3-pointers. Here's Uday, a rare non-dunk for number 8 in purple.
Well, outside of Tennessee, TCU does not shoot a good 3-point percentage. They are a downhill driving team, and Uday gives you that pressure on the front of the rim.
Now 0 in gray, Chance McMillan on the floor, the Big 12 newcomer of the week. Here's D5, Darian Williams with the triple.
And that's one area offensively Texas Tech is really, they've shot it well in conference. Best 3-point percentage in conference play in the Big 12.
Tennyson got fouled on the 3. That's Isaacs, his first.
You know, Texas Tech really does not hurt themselves offensively. They don't turn it over. They are dominating teams in league play at the foul line, and they're shooting a good percentage from 3. It's a very unselfish team. You know, one of the things Grant McCaslin, when he went into that portal in the offseason, he got 5 transfers. They valued 3 things: winning, good teammates, and passing. All 5 of the guys they got played in the NCAA tournament last year. They're all good character guys, and they're all really unselfish passers.
2 for 2 so far for Tennyson. Uday out, Washington out. The 2 starting big men get a blow on the bench. A third of the 3-point attempts for TCU come from number 11 in purple, TREY TENNYSON. He has 6, and it's a 3-point TCU lead. Extra pass, Williams from the other corner.
Beautiful basketball. A breakdown in the defense on penetration, kicked out to space shooters, one extra pass. Get a great look for Darian Williams.
Darian Williams was 3 of 13 from 3 in Big 12 plays, already got 2 tonight. And Keith Kimball says it's an over and back, a TCU turnover. Texas Tech with the ball and a chance to take the lead. There's Jamie Dixon playing for his alma mater. 154 career wins as the TCU head coach. That puts him just 2 behind number 2 all time, the great Billy Tubbs. Here's Robert Jennings, and the feed and the nice finish by Isaacs.
It's the passing that has stood out early. On the road, the willingness to share it.
Copy. Here's Peavy from the elbow. Offensive rebound, Xavier Cork. And now Jameer Nelson, 4 in purple, coming off a 30-point effort on the floor now for the Frogs. 5 on the shot clock. Tough 2 is good from Tennyson.
And the possession was extended by an offensive rebound, and that's been the one problem area for Texas Tech. They're giving up 12 offensive rebounds a game. It's an area where TCU excels. And what a tough shot going baseline by Tennyson.
Yeah, Grant McCaslin told us in practice they have to be more like ninjas, not wrestlers. What does he mean by that?
Big 12 rebounding is different. You know, you can rebound one way in the non-conference, and I think the physicality at times can overwhelm Texas Tech. Their guards have to get involved, and it's about being aware and in position.
A 14-12 Texas Tech lead. Bodies go flying. A foul is called by Tony Padilla, and we have our first timeout of the game. When we come back on the other side of this break, Chris takes us inside what Texas Tech...
Both of them, it cannot be about you. It's got to be about us. And both of those players, to their credit, have bought in, and I think Grant McCaslin's been a magician with the way he's managed both those guys.
Just 47 years old. He's been a winner everywhere he's coached.
Well, he has no ego. You know what I mean? He's been a head coach since he was 27 years old. He's coached at junior college. He's been an assistant. It's, you know, he's very good at diving in and figuring out the management of people and players.
That ball goes out of bounds, and it'll be TCU ball, a chance to regain the lead that they gave up early on. TCU with the ball. They have assisted on every field goal so far. That's one of the hallmarks of a Jamie Dixon team. Tennyson off the curl. Not that time. And it's one and done. The Hezzy, Isaacs, and the float game.
Always on attack. And they'll change up, you know, obviously with Tucson out. Now Isaacs has the ball in his hands, and they are thinking score first, especially Isaacs.
Here's Cork, 12 in purple. Chuck O'Bannon on the floor, number 5 for TCU. 10 on the shot clock. And a wild shot and a turnover for the Horned Frogs.
You know, Pop Isaacs' numbers across the board are up in conference play, and typically numbers go down when you get into Big 12 play. You know, he's got a short memory. He could go 0 for 7 and take the 8th one from 30 feet and make it. I mean, he's just that type of a player.
Here's Darian Williams. Skip pass. And there's McMillan with a big triple.
So huge for them in that win against Oklahoma. He had 27 points, but I think the 8 rebounds was even more important.
There's Nelson. No good. Loose ball. Coles has it for the Frogs. And he goes off the window. Second time he's done that. Nice touch for the big man.
Well, those guards for Texas Tech are going to have to get in there and pitch in on the glass. It's not a physical rebounding team.
Isaacs, set shot three off to the right. Anderson clears. No fast break opportunities early on for TCU.
Yeah, you're good point. They've done a nice job getting back.
Anderson lines up a three. He's short. The rebound, Uday. Here comes Tech. Good hands, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay Texas Tech basketball. Coming up next, our Super Tuesday triple header rolls on. Number 8, Kansas, hosting Oklahoma State, followed by Loyola Marymount and Gonzaga. Chris, what do we make of the Jayhawks so far this year?
Yeah, I think their depth has been talked about a lot. I still think I'm waiting to see if you can win big. You're going to win a lot of games, but if you can win big with a 5 as your best player. They spend a lot of time capital trying to get that ball to Hunter Dickinson, and his numbers have been good, but they were good at Michigan, and he didn't make an NCAA tournament. And so, that's my one question.
With shot clock running down, Toussaint's three, no good, and a good defensive stand by the Horned Frogs. Mismatch for Miller. Guarded by the smaller Toussaint, and he hit the deck. And look at the fight from Joe Toussaint.
May not be a more exciting player in the Big 12 than the sophomore Pop Isaacs. Champagne Poppy Baby, a little hezzy. Toussaint serving as their point guard. Just really an electrifying player.
And maybe if there is one surprise to Texas Tech's surprise season, it's how good they've been offensively. And tonight, so far, it's early, but they're out TCUing what the Horned Frogs do so well. Here's a TCU steal. And a careless turnover by Micah Peavy.
Well, and even there, again, Texas Tech doesn't turn it over. Only 8 turnovers a game in Big 12 play, but they're a turnover, but they got back. That's where TCU excels. You turn it over to them, they're usually scoring layups or dunks on the other end.
Number 1 fast break team in the country. So far, held scoreless in that department. Texas Tech shooting 67% from the field in the early going. And Toussaint got fouled on the floor, says Tony Padilla.
TCU is a no-middle defense. What that means is that weak side, that help side is coming all the way over. That skip has been there for Texas Tech. That skip to the opposite corner. And what it's doing is it's breaking down TCU's defense because now you're in closeouts, and Tech has done a nice job driving those closeouts.
Tech inbounds under their own basket. And now the Red Raiders commit a turnover. That's their 3rd tonight. So we talked about fast break opportunities being very rare in this game so far for TCU. When they're in the half court, what do they like to do?
They allow the ball to see both sides, and then, again, outside of TREY TENNYSON, they are not shooting a good three-point percentage. And you saw that, I think, in the second half, especially against Baylor. Because Baylor made them play in a half court. They are downhill. Every one of these guys is looking to put their head down and drive the basketball.
Five to shoot for the Frogs. They're going to have to hustle. Miller with the three. And it goes over the backboard. It'll be Red Raiders basketball.
It's interesting with how long that game against Baylor was. You wonder if fatigue starts to become what that effect has on TCU. That was a long game. As you know, Rich.
8 on the shot clock. Walton tried the pocket pass, and Mustafa tried to save it out of bounds. And now there's only 5 on the shot clock. And to your point, Chris, Essen Mustafa, who barely saw the floor in that Baylor game, getting some early minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Emmanuel Miller played 53 minutes in that game. And he had no fouls, which is like a crazy stat. 53 minutes, did not commit a foul.
Pop Isaacs off to a terrific start in Schollmeyer Arena. Largest lead of the night in the early going for the Red Raiders. Anderson can't answer, and Isaacs brings it up. Toussaint, and he's fouled by Miller.
Nice job by Isaacs. You know, once that double came, gets it out of there real quick. And again, that ball reversal, the ball is not sticking. Tech's done a nice job moving it against that shifting defense.
This Tech offense, first in Big 12 play in three-point percentage, second in field goal percentage overall. Toussaint. He has no problem getting into the defender. 4 to shoot. Isaacs from the logo, and it's short. Nice shot fake. Tennyson looked good off his hand, and a foul's called on the floor.
It was a beautiful closeout to force him into a mid-range two. And that's the sense of urgency you have to have with Tennyson. It was a great find cross-court in transition. And as you saw, Tennyson runs right to that three-point line. Good awareness to close out on the shooter.
Here's Miller. 2 feet in the paint now for number 2. Five to shoot for the Frogs. Number 5's got it. A step back, and it's off the mark. Another offensive board for TCU. And that's going to be a TCU foul.
You know, Warren Washington, he's kind of fighting a solo battle in there on the glass. And, you know, as Grant McCaslin was telling us, he's an athletic rebounder, and he's 7 feet tall. So he's never had to be a physical rebounder, but Big 12 rebounding is different. Like, you've got to get a wedge, you've got to block out, you've got to make contact. And then these guards have to get in there. I mean, it's just, you know, it's kind of Warren Washington against the world.
And Toussaint just puts his head down and goes right into Avery Anderson, who commits his second foul. So early on now, Avery Anderson, starting guard, 2 fouls. And you mentioned Emmanuel Miller, who had no fouls in 53 minutes, now has 2 in the early going. A byproduct of what you were talking about earlier. Texas Tech loves the downhill drive.
And that's where their threes, you know, again, they're shooting the best percentage from 3 in the Big 12, but those threes are coming off of those drives you're talking about.
Tip ball. And now Tech's going to have 5 seconds. Got to hustle. Here's Toussaint. Nice pass to Washington.
I think you got to make Toussaint try to finish that. There's too much length in there, and he's slight of build. Coming over, you allow Washington to find a crevice and a really good pass.
6 dimes on 6 made field goals for the Red Raiders.
Going to have to guard the ball. I mean, it starts there. You have got to be able to get in a...
Points in 53 minutes, but that dude, Jameer Nelson Jr., ended up with 30 points as well. What are you seeing from TCU tonight in terms of the legs that they might have?
Well, I think Texas Tech has done a nice job moving them, you know, and so the shifting of the defense, I mean, we'll see, you know, if the fatigue takes effect as we move on, but Tech's done a nice job forcing their defense to have to move.
Frogs in a 5-minute scoring drought, and they're not going to end that drought there. 8 to shoot. Isaacs, 3 good.
On a dime, he says. I mean, behind the back, he's a tough shot maker.
Last couple of games, most of his scoring comes in the second half. He's got a dozen already here in the first 20 minutes.
I mean, he's getting nasty here in this first half, and I like it. Look at that. Behind the back, off of 2 feet, on balance. Ooh. It's delicious.
And the smallest player on the floor. You look at him and he's so wiry and you're like, how does this dude hold up against Big 12 play?
Well, that's where you haven't seen teams do this much. Pull him out and force him to guard.
Here's Coles. 5 on the shot clock. No good. Ude, offensive rebound, and nearly an and one opportunity for Ernest Ude. Thursday, Madison Booker and number 12 Texas take on number 13 Baylor. Coverage starts at 8:30 Eastern, right after the Pro Bowl games Skills Showdown. Big 12 men's basketball strong, Big 12 women's basketball equally as stout. And Brittany Griner getting her number 42 retired in a couple of weeks by the Baylor Lady Bears. Look at his stats guy.
You know, another points there off of the offensive glass. I mean, that's been the one saving grace for TCU. They've had to work in a half court for their shots.
Texas Tech, a 9-point lead, nearly 14 minutes into the first half. Looking for their 3rd road win in the Big 12. No team can claim that just yet. Here's Jennings. Seldom used Robert Jennings. And D5, Darian Williams can't complete it. Nelson. Now Tennyson. Skip pass. Peavy all alone. Got it.
It's a big shot. First of all, it was a really good find by Miller to Peavy. Peavy only shooting 24% from threes. 3 of 14 in conference. So that's why the help comes all the way off of him.
Micah Peavy playing against the team he started his college career with, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. That 3 off the mark. Good hands, tip ball, and this is a TCU specialty. Fast break opportunity.
And this is TCU. Lead the nation in fast break points. Good little grab there. And he's saying he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And when he starts from that mindset, it relaxes him offensively.
Good hands playing up the line. Coles, another fast break opportunity. Converted by the Frogs.
TCU is doing a much better job getting into those gaps now, and they've got active hands, and those turnovers are now leading to the patented runouts for TCU.
Hence the 9-zip run by the Frogs to get back in this one. And they're going to call a block on Texas Tech. Or check that, that's on TCU. And that's going to be Jameer Nelson's first.
There's two guys in this game that when they're on you, I think you've got to test them. You've got to go at them. And that's Isaacs and Jameer Nelson.
Toussaint, pocket pass. And it's blocked, but a foul's going to be called on Coles.
Yeah, that's a bad call. That's a great challenge and a terrific block.
So that sends Rob Jennings to the line. And he misses the first. Jamie Dixon's gotten good quality minutes from Jacoby Coles in the early going.
He has. You know, Coles and Xavier Cork were playing a lot at the end of last season when Eddie Lampkin left the team. It's been a slow go here for Xavier Cork, but Coles, I think, is starting to come on.
Coles dealing with a foot injury for the large part of the season. Missed a few games early on, working his way back, but he's been in fine form tonight with 6 points early, and you saw the defensive effort as well.
Jamie Dixon's got a smaller lineup out there right now. You know, he's got Emmanuel Miller, I guess, technically at the 5. He's got a lot of different ways he can use that lineup. You know, he could put Coles at the 5. Obviously, Uday gives you that rim runner, that threat at the front of the rim.
Emmanuel Miller good on the front end of the 1-and-1. What a lineup we have for you this weekend. Saturday afternoon, the NHL All-Star Game on ABC and ESPN+. Then it's Duke and Carolina on ESPN. Sunday afternoon, the Provo Skills Challenge wraps it up. And then it's 7-on-7 flag football, 8:30 pickleball slam. Has Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf taking on John McEnroe and Maria Sharapova. Chris Spatola, have you gotten into pickleball yet?
I have, Rich. I don't know. I'm a little bit.
You would say that.
I'm a little embarrassed to admit it.
No,
that was quite the eclectic lineup we have on ESPN.
Sounded like it was straight out of the Ocho, but it's not. Here's Nelson. Found a seam and was met at the rim by Williams. Here comes Tech in transition. Spot up three is good from McMillan.
How about that exchange? Nobody stopped the ball on the other end. Jameer Nelson decided to test Darion Williams, and he said, I will have none of that.
And Nelson again right into the teeth of the Texas Tech defense, and another foul is called, sending Jameer Nelson to the line. We have a timeout on the challenge accepted.
You can't drink on the pickleball court, though, can you? Or is that allowed? Or
I don't know.
Dallin may struggle with that.
Add Cuff and Spatola to that headliner list. Agassi, Graf, Spatola, Cuff. I love it. First free throw is good by Jameer Nelson.
It's been a real, in this first half, a real savior, the foul line for TCU. Texas Tech has been prolific at dominating opponents in conference play from the line.
Now 9 for 9 for the Frogs and only 2 free throw attempts for Texas Tech. Toussaint. Good hands by Nelson, one of the best thieves in the Big 12. Nice touch again by Tennyson. He could do it from 3 and the mid-range.
He's their second leading scorer in Big 12 play, and he is starting to really get comfortable.
TCU back on top by 1, coming up on 3 minutes to go in the first half. McMillan contested three off the mark. And Uday comes away with it.
There's that corner skip again, though.
Peavy. Second one from that same spot for Micah Peavy. Chris, it is so hard to win on the road in the Big 12. And a traveling violation call. Everything going the Frogs' way.
Been so much more off of the dribble for Texas Tech. I mean, their first 5 or 6 possessions that they scored on, that ball was humming, had a lot of life to it. Everything since has been off the dribble, and this Texas Tech team has been up to the task. And then there's the scouting report on Micah Peavy. Only 24% from 3. Pop Isaacs backs way off of him.
And that three is good. First field goal of the night for Jameer Nelson Jr. Tech trying to stave off a 10-0 TCU run. And look at that, Uday walled up. And the foul is called.
The shooting from 3 in the first half for TCU has been a little bit out of character. You know, outside of Emmanuel Miller and TREY TENNYSON, everybody else is in the 20s percentage-wise from 3 for TCU. It's been a real problem area.
So now Warren Washington at the line, shooting 1-1. And he's got the first.
And that's why I think for Texas Tech, in terms of their defensive scheme, Rich, TCU so good at getting to the basket. They're so downhill driving that you're willing to give up those threes and leave some space on that to try to plug. And TCU has cashed in.
2 for 2 for the big man, Warren Washington. Only a 56% free throw shooter coming in. So just a tick under 2 minutes to go in the first half. A typically hard-fought and closely contested first half between 2 ranked Big 12 opponents. Peavy, no. Coles can't get the offensive rebound. Toussaint. McMillan, short. And here comes Nelson. 90 seconds to go in the first half. A block and a foul.
On one end, it was Toussaint with the early penetration that broke down the defense. And then on this end, it's Jameer Nelson. It was so impressive, Rich, with his performance the other day. He had 30. He was so efficient. He had 30 points on 18 shots, 11 made field goals, and only one of those was a 3. You know, he made 8 free throws, but he was just so good at getting to the basket and finishing.
Off the mark on that free throw. He had just 4 points in the first half in that game and just took over in the second half and in the extra sessions as well.
Well, this is not a nitpick. This is just how scorers think. He actually could have had 35 because he missed 2 shots around the basket that he should have had, and he missed a free throw.
Who's counting? Chris Spatola's counting. That's who. Now it looks like Nelson's going to get an extra shot at that free throw. And speaking of Jameer Nelson's, there's 2 of them in the building tonight. Juniors playing, and there's senior right there. Long career in the NBA after a storied career at St. Joe's.
Storied is right. That, talk about a bucket, a certified bucket. Jameer Nelson Sr.
So 1 for 2 for the younger Nelson. He's got 6, and the TCU lead is 6. Toussaint met at the rim by O'Bannon. O'Bannon with the foul, and Joe Toussaint will go to the line and shoot a pair.
With Warren Washington lifted, top of the key, that paint was wide open. Everybody spaced around the perimeter. A good backdoor cut by Toussaint. Good patience here by Warren Washington, playing out of the dribble handoff, then an excellent cut behind Tennyson's face. Good job getting himself to the foul line.
Toussaint, an excellent free throw shooter, 85%, got his first. One of the favorite Spatola-isms that you have is irrationally confident, and you use that when you talk about Joe. What does that mean?
This was a guy who, there's a difference between thinking you're good and believing you're good. Believing you're good, you know it. I mean, it's deep in there, and the work you put in confirms it. Joe Toussaint has always thought he was better than he really was. This year, it now matches his irrational confidence. I mean, he believes it, and he has been dynamite.
Now Lamar Washington comes away with the ball and gets fouled. That's the second on Chuck O'Bannon. So check that. That's going to be on Jacoby Coles, his second. So double bonus in the final minute for both clubs as number 1 in gray, Lamar Washington, steps to the line to shoot 2.
It's amazing, Rich. In these high-leverage Big 12 games, and by that you mean 1-2 possession overtime games, how many of them have been decided by the foul line?
And when you think about, gosh, how is Texas Tech at the top of the Big 12 standings 7 games in? That's a huge reason why they lead this conference in free throw percentage, 14th in the nation in that department. But Washington can't cash in. Under a minute to go. Peavy. No. Miller. That's a man's rebound and putback from Eman. And a timeout called with 31.1 to go in the first half. We'll take a timeout with them. Contests, 6 of their first 7 Big 12 games have been decided by fewer than 2 possessions, 5 points or fewer. Right now, up 6, 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Toussaint, checked by Nelson. When do you think he goes?
Probably right now.
7 on the clock. Washington.
Nice cut.
And the bucket's good in the paint.
What a
2
cut.
seconds left. Tennyson, good if it goes from half court. It's off the back window. And we go to halftime. A 40-36 TCU lead. They are 11-1 when they lead at the half. Pop Isaacs leading the Red Raiders in the first on a 24-9 run. That's why they have a 4-point lead and the basketball to start the second half. A win tonight, and it's 3 straight wins in the Big 12 for TCU, and their 3rd straight win facing a top 15 opponent. Miller. Strong take, rolls off. Williams the rebound. Here's Toussaint. Nice pass. Williams on the other end, no good.
Get the ball close to the basket. You got to finish in this game. 2 missed layups. You got to expect contact.
Here's Peavy. Another 3. You betcha.
It's been the story of the game. A guy who, it's just not what he does, has made 3 threes in this game.
He has 13 threes coming into this contest. He has 3 already tonight. Toussaint blocked from behind, but the foul's going to be called on Jameer Nelson, who starts the second half for Jamie Dixon.
Yeah, and I think that's the direction. Look, Avery Anderson's a good player. As Jameer Nelson starts to get more comfortable, that's the direction they're going to go in. And I think, wow, what a block. I mean, I think it's defensively, and I think that's a bad call. I think that's a good block. I mean, that hand's part of the ball, and that's a heck of a play.
So Toussaint goes to the line, 3 for 3. Those are his only points. But you mentioned one of the points of growth for Joe Toussaint. He used to have to score to feel like he's successful. Now he's able to do other things in this offense for Texas Tech. Tonight he's got those 4 dimes, but he's also turned it over 4 times. So fours across the board for number 6, Joe Toussaint. Here's Nelson. Peavy. Good D by Kerwin Walton, but still better offense from Micah Peavy, who has 13.
Well, and they're just testing. I mean, testing these defenders for Texas Tech. Everything's a drive, trying to turn a corner. Good job playing off of 2 feet, using that pivot foot.
Isaacs, first shot of the second half, just like the first.
And that's why Pop Isaacs is off the ball. You know, you put Joe Toussaint as the point guard, Isaacs off the ball so he can catch and shoot.
Isaacs lead all scorers with 15. Nelson. No. And we're going the other way. It'll be TCU basketball, but another shot from close range missed by the Horned Frogs.
You know, again, in these high-leverage games, missed layups, and then Warren Washington, you're 7 feet tall. Just chin the ball and wait for somebody to come get it. That's a big turnover.
Miller came all the way across court and airballed it. Saved by Isaacs. Look at that. Isaacs to Washington.
Oh, and Toussaint paused because Emmanuel Miller, the tag guy, didn't know if he should stay with Darian Williams or tag Washington. Good find.
Great vision from Pop Isaacs. And steps from Micah Peavy.
Emmanuel Miller got a little bit confused on whether or not he should cover the roll. And it was actually Isaacs who threw the pass. And it just real patient, you know, kind of waited to see what Miller was going to do. He read the tag guy and then threw it to that big target.
And now Texas Tech with the ball and a chance to tie or regain the lead.
Nice double.
Trap. He got rid of it. Jamie Dixon wanted to travel.
Nice.
Again the no look, and again Washington finishes it off.
He's just coming wide open. Chance McMillan missed the reversal to Darian Williams, and as the defense was trying to figure itself out, they left Washington again.
TREY TENNYSON for 3. That's his specialty. Williams nowhere to go. 10 on the shot clock. Another look and another finish by Warren Washington. Back to back to back throwdowns from number 22 in gray. Peavy off the glass. Four minutes gone by in the second half. Isaacs, good hands by Nelson, knocking it out of bounds.
General Washington. General Warren Washington. doing work not on the Delaware River. He's doing work at the rim. Tremendous pressure on the front of the rim. He doubles it up here. W pleasure, Warren Washington. A couple big-time throwdowns, making that, that rotating TCU defense pay on those 2 alley-oops.
Warren Washington with the ball. He's had his fair share of really productive outings in his first season in the Big 12. 2 to shoot. Toussaint, tough 2.
Really tough. He plays with such force, and there's like a herky-jerky, spastic nature to his game. But it's obvious. I mean, it's really effective, and he's tough to keep in front.
Backdoor cut. Cork almost lost it. Back to Tennyson. 10 on the shot clock. Peavy, he's had the touch.
Well, the scouting report may say one thing. It's time to adjust. When a guy's got 4 of them, and he's 4 of 4, it's time to adjust. Career night from that line.
18 for Micah Peavy now. Here's McMillan. Five on the shot clock. McMillan up and under. Depth is so valuable. McMillan now with 10 points off the bench for Texas Tech. And a careless pass from Tennyson beyond the outstretched hand of Avery Anderson.
Well, that's where McMillan and Jameer Nelson both come off of the bench, but they're both 6 starters. I mean, McMillan had 27 in that win over OU the other day. Nelson had 30 in that win over Baylor. Both those guys are starters, essentially, both in production and minutes.
Cork again tasked with keeping Pop Isaacs in front of him. McMillan for 3. Off to the left. And 1 and done for the Red Raiders. Anderson, 3-ball. First bucket of the night for Avery Anderson. Williams can't answer. Miller just tosses it up after getting fouled by Darian Williams. Earlier today, the Big 12 Conference released the 2024 college football schedule. For more information and to see the schedule of your favorite Big 12 team, check out Big12Sports.com. I did a little peek. Season opens August 31st. TCU at Stanford. Texas Tech versus Abilene, and then they play each other on October 26th. Hard to believe that's 10 months from now.
Of course, adding new teams to that league schedule. Is it too early to release the basketball schedule with the new additions? So the three-point shooting for TCU from guys who do not make threes. I mean, Avery Anderson, another guy who's in the 20s percentage-wise from 3, making one there a moment ago.
Miller checks out, a 7-point TCU lead. How about the Frogs? 7 for their last 7 from beyond the arc.
And this is where, if you're Texas Tech, you know, this could start to get away, especially on the road.
Toussaint can't pay it off. And the Frogs love to run. Ten on the shot clock. Coles. Good touch.
It's a big possession. And you can't complain about the look Toussaint got. It was a quality look. Good timeout.
Largest lead of the night for 25th ranked TCU. A 9-point advantage over 15th ranked Texas Tech.
And I'll tell you what, he's 6'8", 215 pounds, outstanding defender, heck of an athlete. If he starts adding that perimeter shot, that three ball to his game, my goodness.
Micah Peavy in his last 3 Big 12 games, 16 against Oak State, 18 at Baylor. Oh, and they missed the lob there. Could have been dunk number 4 in the second half for Warren Washington.
Well, and it was a big possession. That's why Grant McCasland called a timeout, because this thing, the momentum is obviously with TCU. You can't draw it up any better than that. You just got to complete the play, pass and catch.
Frogs in the midst of a 7-zip run. Looking to add to their largest lead of the night. Anderson. Seven on the shot clock. Tennyson guarded by Isaacs. Got loose for just a moment. And that's all he needed for a triple. And an answer from McMillan in the corner.
Needed that, obviously. Okay, TCU's banking shots in. It needed that desperately.
Frogs are living right tonight beyond the three-point line. There, they get their pocket picked. Isaacs, transition 3. Yes, sir! And immediately Jamie Dixon wants to call a timeout, and he gets a flop. So Tony Padilla says, the bucket's good, the flop is called, we'll sort it out when we come back.
Have to err on the side of protecting the shooter, and then that is blatant. I mean, he is absolutely in Pop Isaac's space. Bad call.
So a potential 2-point swing, which is what we get. Trey Tennyson hits the technical free throw for TCU instead of Pop Isaacs shooting a free throw for a 4-point play, and it's still TCU basketball.
And that's where the flop is different now. It used to be a warning. Remember, they'd have to go over and report. Now it's punitive in terms of free throws.
Tennyson with 17, Peavy with 18, TCU with the ball, and a 7-point lead. Good hands by the Tech defense. 10 to shoot. Five on the clock. Here's Tennyson going to the hole. And one opportunity.
Wow. And Jamie Dixon was trying to get a timeout towards the end of that possession. It was so discombobulated. And then Trey Tennyson, who's had a heck of a game today, not just from 3. I mean, he's showing you he could put it on the floor, off-balance shot. It's definitely a foul. And what a swing. Texas Tech hits 2 threes to cut the lead. Then you get the flop call, and then that possession right there. What a response by TCU.
The 1-2 punch of Trey Tennyson and Micah Peavy producing in bunches tonight. That's 20 points for Trey Tennyson. A game high, and the lead is the largest it's been all night. 10 points for TCU. Ten to shoot. Toussaint. Now McMillan, nowhere to go. Isaacs, wild shot off the mark. McMillan grabs it for the Red Raiders. Now, again, Pop Isaacs misses from close range. Good hustle, picks up the loose ball. McMillan, top of the key, too strong. Uday the rebound.
3 good looks. Can't finish around the basket, and then a really good relocation. Good pass by Washington.
Here's Tennyson, short on the 3. And a hand check foul called before the shot.
Grant McCaslin has Kerwin Walton and Chance McMillan out there at the same time, trying to generate a little bit more space. Both those guys, they're three-point snipers. Generate some more space. Maybe you get those guys to knock down a couple here.
Avery Anderson to the bench with his third foul. Ernest Uday joins him. Now Xavier Cork back on the floor for Jamie Dixon. And that foul's going to go on Tennyson, his first.
Nice. Really
Chance
nice.
McMillan.
Really nice set. He went away and then came back off of that screen.
So coming off that 27-point outburst at Oklahoma, Chance McMillan with 16 tonight. Cork finishes. Toussaint, good hand, stolen away by Tennyson. The fast-breaking Frogs. And Miller misses the bunny. That was point blank. McMillan makes him pay.
The swings in this game, you're right, it was point blank. And Emmanuel Miller's missed a few bunnies tonight.
Nelson, no. Gets it back. Tennyson, three. Gotcha! A timeout on the floor. TREY Tennyson to the start of Big 12 play. He's second in the conference in three-pointers made, and he's added 4 tonight to his tally. So it's now a 9-point TCU lead. 8:40 to go. Isaacs. Now Walton in the corner. No. And Tennyson the rebound.
It's one of those you feel like that's got to go in at this point in the game. From a guy whose job that is to do, to make threes. Kerwin Walton's got to make that.
Miller lost the handle. Hasn't been his night. Isaacs got some airspace, in and out.
Can't get desperate. You can't get desperate. That's not a good shot.
Peavy off the mark. And now it seems like the Red Raiders are settling for threes.
Well, they're trying to hit home runs. Their defense has strung some stops together here over the last 3 possessions. You just got to hit singles and drive the ball. Threes need to come off of those drives.
Nelson. And contact. And an offensive foul called on Joe Toussaint. We'll step aside. 7:04 to go. TCU up 9. But as we talked about, winning on the road is a bear anywhere, but it's not tougher than anywhere than right here in the Big 12, the best conference in basketball. 33-16 are home teams in Big 12 play. And right now, the home team, Frogs, are up by 9 on 15th ranked Texas Tech. Rich Hollenberg, Chris Spatola from Fort Worth. Final 7 minutes of play in this top 25 matchup. 2 to shoot. Peavy the offensive rebound. That's been a story all night tonight, Chris.
It has. It's been a story all season for both teams.
O'Bannon shot fake. two-pointer off the window? No. What would you like to see Texas Tech do offensively?
I'd love to see them drive the ball. Either Isaacs or Toussaint.
On the shot clock. Isaac rises up, and he can't hit it. Out of bounds. And with the timeout on the floor, want to remind you, Devin Booker and the Suns are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets at 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Then Dame Lillard plays his first game back in Portland with the Bucks against the Blazers. NBA Countdown tips off at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Have yourself a week, Devin Booker, averaging 43.5 in his last 4. Nelson off balance, no. O'Bannon picked up the loose ball. And right now it's Texas Tech who looks like the gas team, not TCU.
Yeah, they do. No, it's a good point. I mean, credit TCU's defense on the other end. Because I think some of the settling for jump shots from Texas Tech is the result of TCU's defense pushing them out. And then the offensive glass is, we've been stuck on this, now 10-point margin here, and that offensive glass is really started to take an effect here.
The other thing of note, TCU just 9 turnovers, and that's not something that they have complimented themselves with throughout the season. They've had some games, you've seen them in person, where they have turned the ball over in bunches.
They had 27 turnovers against Iowa State here at home. Just an astronomical number. It's been something they've been up and down with.
Texas Tech trails by 11. They've come back 4 times this season and won when trailing by 10 or more. 10 on the shot clock. Isaacs leaves it for Washington.
That's the penetration, but you're going to have to work for it because TCU's good. They're good defensively. They're staying in front of the ball. But if you press the possession, you get the ball to the basket, you get a dunk.
14 for Washington. Peavy up, not in, but Micah Peavy will go to the line, working on an 18-point night already.
That's where, I was saying in the first half, I think you got to test Pop Isaacs defensively. I think you got to go after him. Only 180 pounds. He's an offensive-minded guy. And that's a case where just a bad matchup for Isaacs on the athlete that is Peavy.
Peavy, a 60% free throw shooter, misses the first. That was his first free throw attempt of the night. The senior from Duncanville High, not far from here in Fort Worth. And he misses them both, and we're going the other way. That's the 3rd foul on Emmanuel Miller.
The other thing too, Rich, most of these Big 12 games are in the bonus. Both teams at like 11 minutes and a half. Neither team in the bonus yet.
Under 5 minutes to go. And Isaacs aggressive and have a chance to make it count.
2 drives, you got a dunk, and you're going to get 2 free throws. I thought during that stretch there, Texas Tech was getting stops. They got a little bit desperate, and they were taking the path of least resistance on the offensive end.
Well, Pop Isaacs has 18 on the night, now 19. He's been averaging 19.5 a game in Big 12 play. That's tops in the conference. And an even 20 for number 2 in gray, Pop Isaacs. Now some token pressure by Grant McCaslin's club. Another small lineup for the Frogs. 10 to shoot. Now they're going to have to go. Anderson, 3 on the shot clock. Puts it up. And it's chased down by Peavy. Inside. And Emmanuel Miller showing good patience. Got fouled by Washington and will go to the line and shoot 2.
They're just Texas Tech's having a hard time rebounding outside their area. I mean, Warren Washington's fighting in there. It's just not, again, he is an athletic rebounder. He's not a physical rebounder. And some of these weird caroms, like that was a weird carom, TCU's first to the ball.
And Chance McMillan just walked past us, Chris, and he is limping his way to the bench. McMillan has 19 tonight. And if Texas Tech is going to have a chance to come back in this game, they're going to need 0 in Gray.
You know, this foul line has been a big deal today, and TCU has done a nice job keeping Texas Tech off it. Texas Tech coming into this game had made 11 more free throws than their opponents had attempted in conference. I mean, that's dominating at the foul line. Look at those numbers today. TCU's done a really good job winning that battle.
1 for 2. Shot fake. Sidestep. 3 ball.
You think their coach to fly at Pop Isaacs? I mean, he had 2 flying Walendas in the air to free himself for that one. Every night, 1-2 possession games. That was a big 3 for Pop Isaacs, and I think he hits that, Rich, because he takes free throws the possession prior. You know, they got aggressive, and Isaacs allowed to see the ball go in, and then what a big shot that was.
Anderson. 7 to shoot. Coles looking for someone. Hands it off to Peavy with 2 to shoot. He got it off. Around and out.
Great job by Warren Washington, switching on and making that a tough shot. Nicely done.
Red Raiders a chance to make it a 1-possession ball game. Under 3.5 to go. They were down by as many as 12. The lob to Washington. Working on the much smaller Tennyson, but he threw it away.
I mean, come on, big fella, you got to go up. You know, he did a nice job possessing it, and then, like you said, he had the smaller Tennyson on him. Just get that up to the basket. Just a panic in here. I mean, he had his pivot. Nobody's coming to help.
Golden opportunity passed by for the Red Raiders. Nelson goes right at Washington and picks up the foul. That's 4 fouls on Warren Washington as Jameer Nelson will go to the line and shoot 2.
That's the Jameer Nelson we saw at the end of the Baylor game. Second half of the Baylor game. He was so tough at the basket, and it starts with that ball screen, top of the key, middle third of the floor, where he just gets downhill, gets a run.
First free throw off the mark. Dallin Cup, what you got?
We got some big news in the Big 12. That's Kevin McCullough not playing tonight, out with a bruised knee. That game starts on ESPN in just over 4 minutes as Kansas hosts Oklahoma State. Back to you guys.
Wow.
Maybe the player of the year so far in the Big 12.
Certainly.
Kevin McCullough out. Kansas already beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater, looking to complete the season sweep at Lawrence. Crunch time in Funky Town. 10 on the shot clock. Here's Washington. 5 to shoot. McMillan back on the floor. And a great defensive effort by Jameer Nelson Jr.
And it started with Micah Peavy on Isaacs. I mean, he was not giving anything up. And then everybody on Texas Tech looking for somebody else to make a play.
Now time is of the essence. A 6.5-minute field goal drought for TCU, but they're up 6 still. 3 to shoot. Nelson does and cans it.
That three-point line has been the fly in the ointment tonight for Texas Tech. TCU, unlikely guys making threes. I mean, this was well defended. This is exactly what you want if you're Texas Tech. TCU, so you might get fouled, you might get some cheap free throws, set your press up. But this is the possession. I mean, they've got to come away with points here, obviously.
Here's Toussaint. They go inside out. Walton left alone. That's his specialty. Now full court pressure by the Red Raiders, and Walton whistled for the foul, his second.
Scripted into timeout, and it started with the penetration. Again, playing inside out, you get the ball in the middle of the paint, then watch Kerwin Walton in the far corner. You know, they're going to screen him. Warren Washington there, and Micah Peavy stays with Isaacs. And a good play out of the timeout.
So now the final minute 26 will come down to free throws. And Nelson misses the front end. Still a 2-possession ball game. Counting down to 1 minute to go. Isaacs. A 3 over Cork.
I mean, they switched on to Pop Isaacs. Again, I think you'd love to see him drive that. It's just, you know, it's a deep shot. That's why it comes up short.
Now full court pressure by McCaslin's Red Raiders. Peavy looking for a release. Under a minute to go in Fort Worth. TCU looking for their 3rd straight win against a top 15 opponent. 8 on the clock. Tennyson can't convert.
Oh, my goodness, what a rebound. What a rebound.
Another update from the studio. Dallin Cuff, take it away.
Thanks, Rich. If you're looking for Miami at NC State, they are underway in Raleigh. You can get that game on ESPN News. Soon as our game is concluded at TCU, we'll move that game over to ESPN2. Let's watch the last 45 seconds. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Dallin. 12th offensive rebound of the night from Emmanuel Miller, but he can't pay it off with the bonus.
Well, Grant McCaslin decided not to foul there, which I agree with that, but it presumes you get the defensive rebound. And that was just, it hasn't been Emmanuel Miller's best night, but that was a heck of a board. Man.
And he missed them both.
Wow.
Texas Tech on life support, but still breathing with 36 seconds to go. Isaacs right to the dish, and he'll go to the line.
That's what I would have liked to have seen him do the possession before. Every time he's taken it to the basket, something good has happened.
Pop Isaacs, an 83% free throw shooter. That's good for 3rd in Big 12 play. Isaacs makes the first. He's got 24 tonight to lead the Red Raiders. Now substitutions. Peavy out and Cork out for Jamie Dixon. And Isaacs in the face of the student section inside Schollmeyer Arena. Cans them both.
Grant McCaslin makes a sub so he can set up his defense. Quick trap, and then you got a foul, obviously.
Frogs shooting 2 free throws on every subsequent foul. Miller gets it into Coles.
A foul.
And Walton stayed off him. And now they foul. Precious time off the clock.
Precious time. And, you know, Coles is the guy there that you get him to catch. He's the one you want to foul.
Well, TCU has had an opportunity this half, Chris, to ice this one away from the line. They're only 8 for 15 in the second half. That one's good from Miller. And now Peavy back on, Anderson off. Offense for defense substitutions. So the shot clock is off. 27.5 to go. Tech's got to go quick. Here's Walton, got a 3. A 3-point ball game. 18.6 to go. Kerwin Walton.
Was a great set. They needed 3, and it was just a really well executed set to get Walton the 3 again.
Your free throws. TCU coming in 8th in the conference, 72% from the line. Tonight, TCU is 20 for 28. And they're going to have to make a couple more if they want to salt this one away. Here's Coles. Tick, 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 and a foul is called, sending Jacoby Coles to the free throw line. That's Toussaint's 3rd. Again, a win here for the Horned Frogs. It's their 3rd straight in Big 12 play, and their 3rd straight when facing a top 15 team. Coles is good from the free throw line. He has 9. And now Peavy on for O'Bannon for Jamie Dixon. Texas Tech came in winners 11 of their last 12. Now Avery Anderson back on the floor as Cole sits down. Here comes Toussaint. Downhill. The lob, and Washington slipped. They didn't necessarily need a 3, but
I think 3 was the call there. But
that, the 13th Red Raiders turnover, could be the costliest. And now Jacoby Coles will go back to the line.
I give TCU a lot of credit. You know, look, Texas Tech coming off a road win, certainly against OU, but to go to triple overtime and to win that game against Baylor, where after Jacoby Walter makes that 3, there's not a lot of teams that would recover on the road and win that game in triple overtime. Showed a lot of fiber, a lot of character to come here. And I thought their defense, you know, we talked about fatigue, Rich. Would it impact TCU in this game? I thought their defense went to another level in stretches of this second half.
TCU, at times, looking like the more energized teams. And those free throws are replaying in the head of Red Raiders fans. Last year in Lubbock, Jacoby Coles iced the game in a 1-point victory for TCU. He could have iced it here with those 2. That three off the mark. Jameer Nelson secures it. And Jamie Dixon has another win against a top 25 team. The 23rd such win in his 6+ years as the head coach of his alma mater, the TCU Horned Frogs. They win it 85-78. And your updated standings, Houston is now all alone.